Sule Lamido, the former governor of Jigawa State, recently granted an interview to Arise TV. I'm going to play you that video, shortly after this introduction. And that interview has raised a lot of dust. So in that interview, he alleged that Tinubu originally did not support Abiola. He did not join the struggle for the June 12th annulment he did not join the struggle against the June 12th annulment initially, ab initio. So that ab initio, he was in support of Babangida and that he was pro the annulment, and that's largely because of his political connection to the then regime of Babangida, as he also alleged that Tinubu's mother, Alhaja Mogaji, was also, mobilizing women to go and protest in support of the annulment. So this allegation has raised dust. He said a lot of things, and I'm going to allow you to listen to it now, while we also look at the response, or the quick response of the federal government, which they have come out, that's the president himself, the presidency, to debunk that those allegations very swiftly. This is We Are Nigeria TV. Let me at this point invite you to please subscribe to this channel, to like this video, to share it, so that people in your circle will be able to get this information that we are sharing, that is helping to support the growth of our economy, of our country, of our politics, and nation at large. So let me allow you now to listen to what Sule Lamido has to say in this interview. Watch.
You see, I feel highly entertained by Tinubu's rhetorics, the way he's dramatizing his own role, in Nigerian democracy. Luckily, we're all alive. Please go. Luckily, we're all alive. We're all there. We're all, participants in that particular, sphere of political activity. So I was in the middle of it. Tinubu became relevant and noticeable after Abacha took over government. Before then, he was the Senate, was the secretary of the party. And with all respect to him, you see, he was part of those people who were supporting Babangida's annulment of June 12th. He was part of it. His own mother, Haja Mogaji from Lagos, was organizing Lagos market women to come to Abuja to pledge, support for Babangida. I'm saying this because it's simply history. I mean no harm. Don't mean to embarrass him. But then you see, he was actively handing gloves to Babangida. Now, when Babangida saw the fact that, he was having a problem with the party, he went to the National Assembly to address them. One infamous speech was, they are trying to incite you. It is you they are against. Tinubu was there, and the IU became very, very firm and straight on the issue of June 12th. He called a meeting, then being the only senior elected person in government at that time, as Senate President. He convened a meeting in Edo, in Benin. We went there with the governor, where we went there and reaffirmed our commitment to June 12th. All right? Babangida was so angry with IU. When he came by, he removed him and put in a better arrow. He put him there so that they can be aligned to Babangida, political kind of machinations. So when Tinubu today, after being a Nigerian president, decided to rewrite history, trying to maybe deconstruct history and then rewrite it, then it is very, very amusing, because he was part of the Babangida support of June 12th. He was part of it. Now, it was only when Abacha took over government that Tinubu then became a so-called activist of June 12th. Not only him, all those who are talking about June 12th in Edeco, I mean no harm, I mean no disrespect. I'm simply saying what happened during that time. All of them, those people in Edeco, where were they on June 11th? They had no part in June 12th. They are not part of June 12th campaign. They are not part of the June 12th activities. What they are never, because most of them are saying they should down look. All of them. Because they know believe that it won't work out. So When Abiola won the election, and then after the annulment, they are all very, very passive. But suddenly, after Abacha came on board, removing Sonekam, they became activists. They formed Nedeco. Nedeco was opposed to Abacha, was opposed to election formation. Nedeco was something which was formed, to fight Abacha, not to fight democracy, not to fight Junta. So whatever Tinubu is doing today is simply reconstructing history the way he thinks it's going to fit his own political interests. But then obviously he was a major supporter of Babangida. Ask Babangida, ask him. So when you talk about, already June 12, what are those characters? Ebute Ere, somebody who replaced Ayu for June 12? Who are the others? All of them. So he ran away. We stayed behind. We fought Abacha. I was detained, because of my fight, but I was detained. Really was detained. So all of us, Adamu Churuma, Bola Ege, Yoche Ayu, Kwame, and many others, Bagaji, all of them were there. We fought Abacha. We fought him because we were willing to risk our lives. Tinubu ran away. He was not in the country. He only came back after the whole thing was, after the cause was very, very clear. So what I'm saying is, all those advocates of June 12, they are more concerned with the bath water rather than the baby. They are more concerned because most of them were at the end of the meal when the product was being processed. They simply picked up the product. The process which produced the product, they are not there. They're not part of it. They only pick the product. And today it's not about the victor, but it's about the victory more than anything else. So we make this kind of distinction. The difference between the victory and the victor. The Nadeko were more concerned with the victory than the victor. As far as they are concerned, in the bathwater they are trying to use, they are trying to hang on to their own kind of riding on top to reinvent, history in Nigeria. Otherwise, I feel embarrassed for the president, for the way he's talking, honestly. Ask anybody. Go ask anybody. We're all there. Ask Ayu, ask Gerigana. They're all there. Ask Rangiwa. So, what is happening today in Nigeria is simply something very, very laughable. People, who had no political pedigree, who had no political history, who are not known as fighters, are now at the forefront fighting for Nigerian democracy. It's so laughable.
I really, what's interesting me in this issue is that, the presidency, the people around the president or the president himself, Tinubu himself, has come out quickly to, debunk this, which tells me that this allegation got to him. It really hit him hard. And I love this because this helps the opposition. This helps Tinubu to sit up. This helps, whether it is true, I am not in a position to say which idea is true and which idea is not. But Sule Lamido is in a position to say what he has said, because he was a secretary, based on what we know now. He was a secretary of the XDP, the party that won the election that Abiola used to win the election. So he was a secretary. So one would imagine that they would be in the initial struggle to recover their mandate once that annulment was pronounced. So he would be in a position to know better who supported and who did not support. So, but the statements which I'm going to read now from the presidency also have some, some issues that it raised, which would suggest that this person, was actually was not in support of the annulment. That is the president. So I'm going to go to the president release, which was today, the 22nd of June. So he said this. He called it "Setting the Record Straight: President Tinubu's Role in the June 12th Struggle." So he said the attention of the presidency has been drawn to recent comments by Alhaji Sule Lamido, former governor of Jigawa State, on live television, in which he falsely accused President Bola Tinubu of supporting the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Alhaji Lamido's claims represent a distortion of history and a regrettable attempt at revisionism. He alleged that President Tinubu only rose to prominence after the formation of NADECO, and claimed that Tinubu's mother, Alhaja Abibatu Mogaji, mobilized market women to back the annulment. These allegations are patently false, so they completely deny the allegations. So let us set the record straight. Alhaja Mogaji never mobilized market women to support the unjust annulment. Had she done so, she would have lost her position as market leader in Lagos, while she once had a personal relationship with the then president Babangida. This was before the annulment crisis. Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. At the time, I want to pause here now and do some analysis. At the time of this incident, this woman, Mogaji, who is Bola Tinubu's mother, was the president of the Lagos Market Women. And at the same time, he had a relationship. Of course, that's an influential position. And you remember that at this time, I believe that the capital was still probably at, I don't know, I think it was still at, or it was still at Lagos. Lagos was still the state capital of Nigeria. So, the Federal Capital Territory. So, for her to be a woman leader, a market woman leader in that place, he would definitely have some relationship with Babangida, which would have enabled her to, be as influential as she was. But then, this also tells me that there might be some element of truth that this woman would have mobilized people to go to the market. This is not a fact, but I am just deducing. If you look at what happens in our politics today, you see that even when people are not, look at what's happening in River State, women are being mobilized to come and pretend like they are in support of what is going on. So it will not be out of place to suggest if that woman, as a market woman leader, would have done something like that. Okay, because this also exposes a little thing about if he had a relationship with Babangida, then she would have done something to sustain that relationship. She probably would have done something. This is not a fact again. I am just thinking out loud. Let's continue. It is important to remind Nigerians that Alhaji Lamido, as Secretary of the Social Democratic Party (SDP), the party whose candidate Enku Abiola won the June 12 election, was among those who failed to oppose the military's injustice. The SDP leadership, including Lamido and Chairman Tony Anene, wrote their names in the book of infamy by surrendering the people's mandate without resistance to their eternal mandate. Full stop there, sorry. To their eternal shame, Lamido and Anene teamed up with the defeated National Republican Convention to deny NRC, to deny Abiola his mandate. In sharp contrast, Senator Bola Tinubu stood firm even before General Abacha dissolved the political parties and all democratic institutions, including the National Assembly, on November 17, 1993, following his coup. Days after General Babangida addressed the Senate and announced his decision to step aside on August 27, 1993, the setting up of an interim government to replace him, senators debated the speech on the Senate floor on August 19, 1993. Tinubu unequivocally condemned the annulment, describing it as another coup d'etat, urging Nigerians to reject injustice and lawlessness. The records captured his contribution, showing that he supported upholding the June 12 election, not against it, as Lamido claimed. So this is now quoting Tinubu's statement, and let's read it. And there's another thing I want to pick here, and I hope I can make another video to elaborate on it, because this statement opened up onto the role of Tinubu in Nigeria's democracy, what he has been doing all along, especially in the opposition where he is. So let's read this statement very, very, very clearly. We have a situation that suggests that the abortion of June 12 election is another coup d'etat. Senator Tinubu said, "My question is, when are we going to stop tolerating injustice, coup d'etat, and abuse by the people on whom we invested so much resources, the public funds of this country. Yes, it is true that we have a crisis, but for every action, there must be a reaction. This is a self-inflicted crisis because without the abortion or annulment of the June 12th election, there will be no crisis like this. We have a government that made a law and abused its law. Therefore, the present military administration, by virtue of abrogation and violation of its own decree, has committed a crime. Okay, so this is Tinubu's statement, and there's something funny I am taking from this, and I hope I can make another video to be able to explore, to take something from this and share with you what I'm thinking. I don't know whether you are thinking what I'm thinking now. So let me continue because I don't want this video to take too long. So the senator from Lagos West told his colleagues, let's continue the statement. The election winner Abiola was out of the country when the legislators debated Babangida's offer to step aside for an interim government. He returned in September 1993, and who followed him? He said, and who followed him to the Abacha military group, then openly planning a coup against the NS Sheneko-led ING. It was Tinubu. Photographs exist today showing Tinubu behind Abiola and Abacha. Abacha took over on November 17, 1993, and dissolved all democratic institutions, including governors, the National Assembly, and the state legislature. Tinubu and a group of senators reconvened in Lagos, defying the junta. Tinubu, Ame Ebute, Abu Ibrahim, and others were arrested and kept at Alabon. The police took them to court and fabricated a case against them. While in police detention, Tinubu continued to fund pro-June 12 protests in Lagos, including the blockade of the Third Mainland Bridge. Weeks after Abacha supplanted the ING, it quickly became clear, that's the interim national government, it quickly became clear to Abiola and Tinubu that Abacha would not be a soldier of democracy, as he reneged on allowing Abiola to reclaim his mandate. Enter the National Democratic Coalition. So this is now introducing the Tinubu's role in the NADECO. Okay, it was born in May 15, 1994. Comprising a broad coalition of Nigerian Democrats. It called on the military government of Sani Abacha to step down in favor of the winner of the June 12, 1993 election, MKO Abiola. On the first anniversary of his election, Abiola made a declaration at Epetado in Lagos, announcing himself as the duly elected president. 10 days after, on June 22, he was arrested, following which many pro-democracy activists also escaped from Nigeria, including Bola Tinubu. Tinubu lived in exile for nearly 5 years, while Lamido and his ilk made deals with Abacha. While Tinubu was away, agents of the junta bombed his home in Balarabe Musa Crescent, Victoria Island. Thankfully, Lamido admitted that Tinubu played a significant role in NADECO. Indeed, Tinubu did more. He also backed Professor Wole Soyinka's Nalikon, offering material resources to fuel the struggle. It is well known that Tinubu played a leading role in agitation against the June 12 annulment. Many NADECO leaders and journalists in exile and at home openly admitted that Tinubu sustained them and provided them with funds for the struggle. With his narrative, Lamido appeared confused about the role of NADECO. It was an offshoot of the June 12 crisis. NADECO provided a platform to channel the struggle. Hitherto, all the resistance was left to civil rights groups, journalists, and a section of the labor, such as NUPENG. It is thus disappointing that Alhaji Lamido, despite acknowledging Tinubu's NADECO role, would attempt to rewrite history for political reasons and being a member of the coalition of the disgruntled. Okay, talking about the coalition that is being formed. Okay. We advise Lamido to check his fact before going on television to spread falsehood. It does not help his image, and the coalition he belongs to engages in revisionism. Revisionism does not serve the cause of truth or nation's interests. We do not want to believe that Alhaji Lamido suffers from what psychologists call tall poppy syndrome. However, the conclusion is inevitable, as it appears that Lamido is envious of Tinubu's democratic credentials. The fact remains clear. Tinubu was and remains a steadfast advocate for democracy, and in contrast to the record of Lamido and others who capitulated in the face of military oppression and intimidation. So this is the statement. It is, of course, ended with, as usual, what APC they are used to, insulting people. So this page is just insulting people and all that. So surprisingly, in this whole statement, I didn't see where anyone, the persons who authored it, there was nobody authored this. Nobody put their names here to have authored this. It's just a statement from the State House. Nobody authored this, so nobody put their name to have said they authored this. So I was expecting somebody to have signed this. That's one thing with this statement. Another thing is that there was no place they cited any credible source for all of this, including when they said pictures. I would have thought that they will cite a newspaper publication that showed the picture, which is a credible way to debunk things. Yeah, while they may have quoted a statement that that Tinubu made in the Senate, in the Senate chambers, which is also a good one. I was expecting that, okay, they will have cited where anyone could go and find these statements. No, this is how to. This is very. As a matter of fact, this is another testament to the fact that Tinubu has surrounded himself with people who really are not serving him properly, because this statement, as much as it's damp, helps to clarify some things, it still is not weighty enough to dislodge these allegations. I was expecting that they could have done it anyway, but this is what incompetency is doing. This is what incompetency, and that's the problem we are having in our country at the moment. Our politicians are fighting themselves, but the truth remains that people are dying. Insecurity is growing. Nigeria is in a more economic and political crisis than it was in 1993 right now. And if you read this statement, you will see that Tinubu himself funded protest. He funded protest against the military. He supported people agitating against what is wrong. So why is it that he is suppressing protests in his own regime? Why is it that he is suppressing people speaking up? Why is it that people are being picked up when they speak against him, especially younger people who are not, who don't have anything, who are using social media to express their frustration, speak truth to power? Why does he use? Why is he trying to lord it over them? Is it that it's something he has done in the past? It's something he has done even against the military. Okay, so it's up to us to stand up for our country. We are Nigeria, and I hope you take something from this. I am still going to come back and look at some of the statements I've seen here and see what lessons, what analysis that we can make of it, because it's really interesting what they have put out in this statement. But this is it. A few days ago, it was Gowon coming out to explain his role in the Biafran War and the Aburi Accord and all that. And then again, it was people accusing him of telling lies. Well, this is another thing that is paramount now. What is paramount now is that Nigeria is struggling economically, Nigeria is struggling politically, Nigeria is in a very, very bad situation right now, and it needs to, Nigeria needs to be saved. Nigeria needs to be rescued. If you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe to this channel, subscribe to where We are Nigeria TV, and we'll try to give you analysis like this and to help us in the struggle to restore our country to dignity. I'll see you in the next one.